And so joining us now with more on Herzog's visit to the United States and the welcome he is receiving from Congress is Executive Director of Combating Anti-Semitism Everywhere PAC and Newsmax columnist Bryan Leib. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
So I want to address some of the comments we've heard this week regarding Israel in just a moment. But first of all, the Israeli president in Washington today, how is he being received in the U.S. By the Biden administration and the U.S. Congress overall?
Well, I think the president will be received pretty well today. There's a lot of fanfare surrounding this historic visit, as it should be. Israel is America's oldest and most trusted ally in the Middle East, and I would also say potentially also around the world. So the welcome that he's receiving today is warranted. With that said, it is very noticeable that it is the president of Israel that is visiting today and not the prime minister of Israel. And we'll see how this visit plays out. But I think all in all, this will be a very good visit that will continue to strengthen this unbreakable bond between the United States of America and the state of Israel.
And now this week we've heard a leading progressive Democrat calling Israel a racist state. Democratic Progressive Caucus leader Pramila Jayapal walking back on her words, but others like Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib doubling down on these statements, and along with Congresswoman Ilhan Omar and others boycotting the president's speech. We are seeing time and again what seems to be sort of a growing movement within the Democratic Party that is hostile to Israel, the Squad, as they're called. They make a lot of noise, but are they having any, real impact on U.S. policy towards Israel?
Well, I penned an op-ed yesterday in the Daily Caller where I really took these comments from Jayapal and other Squad members directly head on. And I do think in a lot of ways that there is an enormous amount of anti-Semitism that is brewing and thriving in the Democratic Party. We see that with the comments this past weekend. We see that with members of Congress that are boycotting Israeli president's speech to Congress. So certainly there is an impact that they're having. And I think the biggest impact that these people are having is driving a wedge trying to drive a wedge between the U.S. and Israel alliance, and also dividing the Jewish people. But ultimately, I don't want to mince my words here. When members of Congress traffic in anti-Semitism, which is anti-Israel, anti-Zionism, and also just being anti-Jewish, that puts me and thousands and millions of other Jews here in America in the crosshairs, which we've already been in for far too long. So the rhetoric does incite more violence, and it really needs to end. It's not getting us, the Jewish community, anywhere, but putting us in the crosshairs on a daily basis.
Mm-hmm. And so what can you tell us about Casepac? It's a political action committee focused on combating anti-Semitism in American politics. Where are we predominantly seeing anti-Semitism today in American politics?
Well, when we look at federal politics, predominantly the anti-Semitism, the IRA working definition of anti-Semitism is coming from the left and coming from Democrats. We've talked a little bit about some of those individuals right here in this interview, but it is really becoming a much bigger issue than it was. Decades ago, you would have Jewish leaders say, well, there's only one or two members of Congress that have anti-Israel views. It's not a big deal, nothing to worry about. Today, we're looking at situations where anti-Israel resolutions are put on the House floor on a monthly basis, and it routinely garners 20, 30, 40, 50 members that are signing on to these resolutions. So unfortunately, there is quite a bit of anti-Israel, anti-Zionism, and traditional old-fashioned Jew hatred that is coming from the halls of Congress. The majority of it is unfortunately coming from Democrats. We can't be shy about calling that out. That's the reality of the situation. And the work that we're doing at Casepac is doing just that. We're calling out these anti-Semites. We're going on the offense. We're naming and shaming them. We're holding them accountable. And we're also supporting the good guys and gals out there on both sides of the aisle that are speaking out against this rise of anti-Semitism in America. And we are the only federal political action committee that is solely dedicated to fighting anti-Semitism. So I think we have our work cut out for us. We certainly have a lot on the docket and a lot on the plate to handle. But the best thing that we can do is go on the offense and speak out and speak our truths, because these people they're trafficking in lies about Israel, about Zionism, and about the Jewish community, and we've got to call them out with the truth, and that's what we'll continue to do.
Absolutely. Bryan Leib, thank you for your analysis today and for your important work in calling out anti-Semitism.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.